The go to 145, and he is just getting started. Joining us from the airport on the way to the AFL Grand Final here in Melbourne to watch the Sydney Swans get it done against Brisbane, the one and only Alex Volkanovski. Volko, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just get aboard soon. But I mean, I thought let's quickly get this in. So good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, man. All right, I'm going to skip a couple of questions and just quickly jump into it because I know you got to go. First of all, now I've got a lot of watchers and listeners asking about this whole Deigo Lopes thing, man. I saw he's trying to ask for this fight with you in December. What would your response be to the UFC and to Deigo Lopes about that one?
We've already talked to the UFC. Obviously, the title fight. I'm fighting for the title fight, and that's sort of what it was always going to be, you know. So I get what he's saying. If it was going to be him next, something would have to happen to one of the guys, from the fight, whether they get injured or move divisions or whatnot, and there's an interim title or something like that. Obviously, I'm not scared of nobody, but I'm fighting for the title, and that's that. So that's the only way that sort of happens. But you never know what happens, right? Like the guys are fighting. Max has got a BMF belt. What's he going to do if Max wins? What's his next fight? Is he defending the featherweight belt straight away, or is he going BMF? So that could open the door for maybe an interim or something. But you could do that. But I'm fighting the winner, so that's something that I've already discussed with the UFC from the get-go. I said I was going to wait, and that's what's happening. Like obviously he's in a position now where he's trying to get himself right there, which good on him. He should be. I would be doing the exact same thing, and I did. So good on him. But it just doesn't really make sense for me unless something happens to the other two, right?
Yeah. Just quickly before we get off him, are you impressed with what you saw from him with Brian Ortega? Like, were you surprised with the way he was able to dominate Brian?
Yeah, well, I guess so. I had him pretty even, but I thought Ortega could get it done. But yeah, I didn't expect him to hurt him so much on the feet and have Ortega so. Ortega seemed like he was struggling. I think maybe it was a bit of a bad game plan. I think he kept doing the same thing and turning himself straight into Diego's right hand. I think Diego was able to land out quite a few times. I didn't really see Ortega make any adjustments. So that kept landing. But other than that, Ortega, that crazy chin. He had every but Deigo should have got that first round victory. That's how clean that first right hand was.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ortega's just known for his chin, so credit to Ortega for his chin. But Deigo was much better on the night.
Got to ask you as well, when it comes to obviously the big Tapura Max Holloway fight, have the UFC spoken to you about a backup spot? Is that something you would at all be interested in if one of the guys has to pull out sort of leading into the fight now that we're getting closer to it?
Nah, again, that doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not a really a backup fighter. I'm guaranteed next shot. If I was in a different position, right, where I'm trying to make sure I'm next and all this sort of stuff, and just solidify myself as that next guy, maybe I would go out of my way and do what I did earlier on in my career. But right now, that just doesn't make sense. Because I am next, and I'm not. It's not. I don't know. I don't think I'm in a position to be back up for a featherweight fight, but I'm guaranteed. I was a reigning champ for quite some time, and it just doesn't make sense.
I like it. I remember when you were the backup that time, and you were driving over the border, cutting in the car. I think you've paid your dues for the backup. Yeah.
Exactly right. You know what I mean? So I've done all that, and I applaud the fighters that are going to try and do that and do the same. Right? That's what it takes. If you want to be the best, you want to go out there and get to the top. You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I've done that. Now I'm in a position where I was decided to have a break. The UFC wanted me to have a break, and they said, look, let's just have a bit of a break, and we'll get you back in there. Obviously, I wanted it later this year. But that just didn't work out with the timing that Max and Ilia are fighting. So it's going to have to most likely be early next year.
Hey, just quickly on that fight, I know you're sort of picking Max here to win it, but what was your reaction when you saw Ilia? I guess he's playing some mental games here. He's telling Max Holloway, if you point at the mat in the last 10 seconds, I'm coming in and I'm going to knock you out. And if you do that from the first round, I'll knock you out in the first round. Do you actually believe Tapura is going to be doing that, or do you think he's just trying to get into Max's head to sort of adjust what his game plan will be going into this one?
Oh, well, of course he would love for Max to just point at the floor. And then, then there's, because Ilia's got great hands, right? So he would love to just stay in a boxing range. That's where he has his chance of landing that big shot, even though Max has got an incredible chin. But, I don't think Max is that silly. He knows that, like, I feel, I'm sure Max is looking at that, be like, I believe that you think you have to fight that way, the only way to beat me. Where Max is probably thinking I can beat you in many different ways. But Max, being Max, he's probably going to be winning and still do the same thing anyway, which would obviously play into Ilia's game. It wouldn't be a smart idea with someone like Ilia to just point at the ground and be like, let's just swing. Ilia is obviously a powerful puncher. He loves his boxing. And, again, I think with myself, with Ilia, I always said that I feel like he's got a puncher's chance. That's the only way I ever thought I would lose in the featherweight would be someone by puncher's chance. And he's one of them. Obviously, he's got an incredible puncher's chance, right? Yeah. So and I think Max would know that, and I just think Max is probably going to not be that silly and just playing to his game, even though that is Max's game. Unless maybe when he wears him out a little bit and later in later rounds when he gets him tired, gets a good read, maybe he will do something like that. But earlier on, I don't think that would be very clever.
Fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be a one-and-done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over. Thanks to our friends at MANSCAPED. They're coming up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. Introducing the Beard Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger trimmer for the moneymaker, and another one for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off and free shipping now with the code word submission at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code word submission at manscaped.com. And fellas, real talk. I'm about to talk to you out there, the guys that are about to go on their dates, or the guys that are about to go in the gym, or the guys that are about to just go into work or do whatever life things you need to do. There are certain things you need to do to take care of yourself. Manscaped has you sorted, if you know what I mean. With the 20% off with the code word submission and free shipping today, the Ball and Beard bundle will make sure that you accomplish whatever it is you're trying to do out there. What about NordVPN? It is the ultimate VPN out there. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, you can go to nordvpn.com/submission. Now, our link will give you an extra 4 months on the 2-year plan. That's right, an extra 4 months. And there's absolutely no risk with the Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is down below, or of course you go to nordvpn.com/submission. What about NordVPN? You can watch your sporting events, TV shows, films which aren't available by your region by switching your virtual location. You can protect your private data like bank details, passwords, and online identity. You can switch your location anywhere to save money by purchasing cheaper flights, hotels, subscriptions. And what about the threat protection feature that protects you from viruses, malicious malware, and phishing sites? It's the fastest VPN in the world with no buffering or lagging. Premium cybersecurity for the price of a cup of coffee per month. And one NordVPN account can be used up to 10 devices. That's right, 10 devices. Go to nordvpn.com/submission now. Get the deal. Try it risk-free. It's one of the best apps in the game as well. nordvpn.com/submission. Support this show so we can provide more interviews for you throughout the next few months with nordvpn.com and Manscaped now. Now back to the program. Here's the other question, right? Because right now people are also wondering who Conor McGregor will fight next. And obviously you're the GOAT when it comes to the featherweight division. Conor McGregor is known for his run as the featherweight champion. There's kind of a narrative there, like you've beaten Max Holloway, so has Conor. You've beaten Aldo, so has Conor. There's kind of a narrative there, you guys meet together because you're two of the most dominant 145, champions of all time. Would that fight interest you potentially instead of this rematch with Ilia or Max, if this spot with Conor McGregor is still open around January, February?
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Like that the fight's always going to be one that's exciting. That's something right now. It's like title fights, exciting fights. That's what, you know what I mean? And maybe short notice fights. That's the things that excite me. You know what I mean? So now I'm obviously I'm doing good now. Back in training hard and that as well. But just what excites me. It's just doing a contender fight in featherweight division. that doesn't really get me out of bed. I'll be lying if I said that would, you know what I mean? So it would have to be a belt on the line or something like that to get me excited. So, and obviously the Conor McGregor fight is very exciting. So that's definitely something that I would do.
I'd love that because you and him in a press conference, man, you're so good behind the mic. What would excite you more, the rematch with Tapura or Max or this McGregor fight?
Man, so that's a tricky one because I mean, obviously, I
know.
want that match back with Ilia, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, because I don't know exactly what's happening in February. If Ilia wins, I don't even know where he would want to fight. I don't think I think they might be talking about maybe Sydney or something. I don't think Ilia is going to want to fight there. So who knows? How long is it going to be? Is he going to wait another 6-7 months? So I'll say Conor McGregor right now because then I could still do Ilia straight after that.
Yeah. Hey, dude, before I let you go as well, just two more quick things. First off, I was talking to your manager, Ash, who said that Chuck Liddell was a massive inspiration to you when you were growing as a fighter, as you were going through the ranks here in Australia. I got to ask, we've got this Alex Pereira, Khalil Roundtree main event the following weekend. What do you think a prime Chuck Liddell back in the day would have looked like if he fought Alex Pereira today? Because that's like a crazy matchup I keep thinking about in my mind.
Yeah, it's just that's times, right? Like it's if the prime Chuck was to fight prime Alex Pereira, because of the day and age that we're fighting now, the game's evolved. A lot of the fighters have evolved. You know what I mean? So it'd be hard to go against the new sort of generation fighters because we've got to learn from all the great fighters and just learn along the way. So it would be a pretty unfair advantage. But obviously Chuck Liddell I was a massive fan of and very exciting. If there was a way you could sort of do pound for pound and including the times, all right, now it's getting a bit closer. But if you just had prime Chuck versus prime Pereira, it's hard to pick against the newer generation just because of how much the game's evolved.
Yeah, man. I think Chuck is one of those guys as well that gets left off people's Mount Rushmore. And he's someone that, like, revolutionized the game, but unfortunately was past his prime when the game blew up. So people need to remember the guy because he was an incredible fighter. Hey, quickly, before we let you go, because you got to board your plane now, what is your prediction for the AFL Grand Final? People don't realize the Sydney Swans are versus the Brisbane Lions here in Melbourne. It's one of the biggest events of all time. It's a public holiday here in Melbourne. It's going to be 100,000 people at the MCG. You're a massive Swans supporter. How do you think it goes down?
Swans, you know what I mean? Like I reckon it's definitely Swans. So I've had a couple of the chats with the boys throughout the year, and a lot of you're always going to talk about adversity and stuff like that. And the both games that I talked to them, they had to come back from like 30 points down or something like that. So I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to say the guys are going to have a nice clean sweep. There's going to be no adversity. They're just going to go out there and do their thing because I don't want my heart pumping as much as that was them other games. So I reckon the guys are going to go out there and really perform from the get-go, win every little exchange and just dominate from the start.
And I hope you enjoy that,
That's what I hope.
The live Katy Perry performance and a few meat pies along the way. Guys, make sure to follow the man on social media. And, of course, the big account you need to follow is Cooking with Volk. It's the new account on Instagram. And, of course, jump on Engage. Get all your Volk merchandise. Alex, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. You're a legend.
No worries at all. Sorry to rush you, mate, but I've got to get to the plane.